You're listening to a classic business podcast as heard on Classic 102.7. 102.7. This is the Classic Business SME feature.
Well, my next guest has gone from blitzing opposition defences on the rugby field, winning World Cups, and as the 69th member of Laureus World Sports Academy to turning his attention and blistering speed to business for good. Bryan Habana, co-founder and head of business development of Paymenow. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. Great to be on the show. I hope everyone is keeping safe and doing well. Level 3 lockdown. It's been an interesting 11 weeks and exciting to be involved in something that will hopefully be improving employees, financial wellness and resilience over the coming months.
It really is an interesting project that you're involved with. And I must just say before we start that I had the great privilege of seeing one of your most memorable tries. It was your 39th that came in your 72nd test. It was in the World Cup in New Zealand. We were following the box around the North Island. And you chanced, I think, Namibia on that day. They were great sports, so we had a lot of fun. We drank far too much. But it was the one that took you past US record. And unfortunately, that wasn't to be our World Cup. But how did you come to be involved with Paymenow and Dion Nobriga, which is effectively, it's almost like a payday loan solution, but hopefully taking all of the negativity around payday loans and those usurious interest rates out of the equation?
Well, first and foremost, it's not a loan. It's a salary advance, and I think myself and Dion go way back to university. We were roommates together at RAW. I was studying IT. Dion was studying both IT and engineering. I took a very different course in my life, and Dion went to not only finish his degree and mine, but get honors in that as well. And we've stayed pretty close friends throughout the last 17 years. He's gone on to do some incredible things in the business industry from a banking and retail perspective. We've been such good friends that he was even the MC at my wedding. So a trusted relationship. And, we sort of went to go see two entities in the UK that offer a very similar type of offering, but more geared towards, a first world developed country market. And, on potentially thinking of bringing that solution back to South Africa, we saw the need to potentially change the actual concept of the platform to make it a really interesting one with regards to financial wellness and resilience, and offering a potentially low LSM environment and the ability to access what we sort of terming the nano space of being able to get access to nano type of amounts, where in the fees in comparison to the micro lenders and the payday loans out there, we're probably anything from 5 to 20 times cheaper, depending if you go into that nano loan space. But putting a different spin on it and making it a little bit more gamified. So we're giving people responsible access to already earned wages, and it's only a percentage thereof. And for us, it's more about going on a journey both with the employer and the employee, but doing it in as a responsible way as possible, and allowing people not only to educate themselves, but become a saver, and so changing that debt cycle into a savings mindset, which is incredibly important. And we've seen, in the rise of this pandemic, the increase in lending, in micro-lending, in people wanting access to money that they can't get with regards to panic buying, and for emergencies and those types of things. So it's a really exciting one. And obviously, having been retired 2 years now, venturing into various different business opportunities. At Paymenow specifically, that for good element, and educating people around financial wellness and inclusion, and hopefully going with them on this journey to change that very, very vicious debt cycle.
And that's the important differentiator here, because you, in effect, allowing salary earners an early advance on their salaries. And we know that cash flow in the middle of the month can drive many individuals at the base of the pyramid, as it's known, or the lower LSM, into the hands of machinistas, where they get charged usury rates plus. And if we can try and minimize that and offer a solution that allows people to rather access their earnings slightly early and educate them, as you say, at the same time, then we're starting to see the real power of gamified app-based financial inclusion. Now, Bryan, do you do a bit of coding in the background yourself? I mean, how is your interest in this particular area come into being?
Yeah, so first and foremost, I started studying BSc IT at University of John back in 2001. I unfortunately didn't complete my degree, but it was something that has always interested me. I've always been involved in tech, and I was sort of the go-to guy at the Springboks when it came to setting up iTunes account, and myself and John Smith always were sort of seeing or vying for the latest gadget, or who could get their hands on the newest iPhone as soon as possible. So from a coding perspective, no, I'm going to be brutally honest. I am not extremely adept at that, and we've got an incredible team behind us at Paymenow who, in the space of a couple of weeks, actually developed a MVP for us, a most viable product, a minimum viable product that we could actually use and engage with, potential investors and prospective clients with. So, I think for me, the coding aspect is definitely not where my forte is. For me, in terms of the networking opportunity, getting a foot into the door is really important. But what I do really have is an incredible amount of trust in our dev guys and what they've been able to produce. I honestly think we've got a very, very unique system, and in comparison not only to potential competitors in South Africa, but on the global scale. And like I said, for us, that financial wellness and resilience element of how we want to change a mindset. We talk about giving people responsible access to already earned wages, and it's only a percentage thereof. And we understand that journey of changing those mindsets doesn't happen in a month or two. It's taking them on all these learnings where they have to complete financial education models, understand what their credit score is all about, potentially giving them an option to know how to even save, because the machinistas potentially are taking credit cards and are taking people to the ATM to let them draw out their owed money. So, for us, we're not terming it loans. It's an advance on your salary, but trying to do it in a way in which it's as responsible as possible. And it is exciting. We've seen an incredible amount of uptake in the last couple of months, even with, this pandemic on the rise. And again, the pipeline from prospective clients list is extremely exciting, and the direction in which the company is growing.
Well, Bryan, I think it's a fantastic story, and all power to your and Dion's elbow as well into bringing this to the local market and letting it flourish and thrive. As we've seen, platforms like Easy Equities as well have gone a long way in democratizing things like investing, and we need to see more gamified app-based type solutions for that segment of the market. Just before I let you go, what has the uptake been like, and what are your next steps from here?
Yeah, so obviously, we're actually really excited. We managed to onboard our first client, just before the health pandemic has risen. We've now managed to onboard 4 more during this, the last 11 or so weeks. And we're sort of potentially looking for growing the platform and scaling in a way in which we're, can start onboarding. And we have to see in a usage percentage that has been phenomenal from an employee perspective. We've seen anything uptake from 150 to 200% usage of the platform in a month. And I think the biggest concern that employers have is that they're giving employees access to this money, but come month end, the current debt that actually has to come off, and all the issues that people potentially see coming at the end of the month is something that we were worried about, that employees were worried about, but our current employees have been absolutely extremely happy with no issues raised, no one coming to complain that all their current debit orders that were going to be coming off are affecting their salaries or affecting what's going to be happening in their own financial circumstances. So I think from that perspective, we're extremely excited about the opportunity. We have now seen people get the opportunity to do financial education models and not just read through them, but actually have to answer them to be able to gear more points as they move up the different tiers, which I think is, again, a change in the way things actually have to be done. And we've seen the likes of Discovery with their Vitality model and the extreme success that they've had, and people willing to get lower transaction fees and gain more access to the percentage that the employers have agreed upon, is something that everyone wants to strive towards, because you actually want more access to the money that you're getting available made to you. So it has been really exciting, and like I said, we really want to, from a financial inclusion and resilience perspective, we want to give people the opportunity to responsibly gain access to their money, but also educate them in a way that improves their financial being. And it's something we're really excited about. From a tech side, as I mentioned earlier, we're extremely capable and hands-on in how we do this. And, we've onboarded a few clients remotely over the course of COVID, which has been, a real plus point for us as a company. And we're extremely excited about the journey that lies ahead.
Well, Bryan, from one beautiful game, Heaven's Game, to another, it's been great talking to you, mate. Let's hope we can also get some rugby back on our screen sometime too. Take care.
No. Sport is definitely something I think that everyone's missing. Weekends become that much longer. But I think, I think the first and foremost, and the thing that for me is extremely paramount, is that we're all keeping safe. We're washing our hands, we're social distancing, and hopefully in so doing, together we can come out of this thing.